Okay, welcome to the deep dive. We sift through sources to find those really interesting connections.
Yeah, looking for the patterns.
Exactly. And today, it's the Nag Hammadi Library. You know, those texts found in Egypt.
Oh, yeah, fascinating stuff.
But we're looking at them through pretty specific lens today, scalar cosmology.
Right, not just the usual spiritual interpretations.
The mission is to see if maybe, just maybe, these ancient writings aren't only allegory. Could they encode something about, like, harmonic principles, about consciousness and reality itself?
It's a compelling idea.
Yeah.
The sources we looked at suggest that maybe texts like, say, the Apocryphon of John are actually describing fundamental universal mechanics.
Mechanics, you mean like physics?
Sort of, yeah, like wave mechanics or scalar geometry, but hidden in, the language of myth.
Hidden in language. Okay, so when I talk about the pleroma, the divine fullness, that's not just heaven.
Well, maybe not just. In this view, the pleroma is like a perfect, undisturbed standing wave. A source frequency, if you will.
A source frequency?
Back?
And the eons that come from it.
Think of them as overtones, like harmonic layers branching off that main frequency, almost like notes vibrating off a string descending outwards.
Okay, pleroma as the root note, eons as the harmonics. I can picture that. Yeah. So where does Sophia fit in? Wisdom. Her story always involves a fall, right?
Right, but here's where the interpretation really shifts. Her fall or descent isn't necessarily seen as like a moral failing.
Not sin.
Less sin, more phase instability, a kind of wobble in that perfect harmonic structure.
Wobble? How?
The texts say she tried to create alone, without her paired harmonic, without the consent of the spirit, as it's put. And that action, that solo creation attempt, introduced asymmetry, distortion. It's framed as like an experiment in unanchored creativity that results in, well, entropy, chaos.
So not evil intent, just a vibrational misstep, creating a ripple.
Exactly. And that ripple leads to the demiurge, yelled about, Sophia's offspring in these narratives.
Okay, the demiurge, often seen as the bad guy.
Well, in this scalar view, he's less bad guy, more the result of that initial distortion. Think of him as a kind of false coherence, a feedback loop locked onto itself.
A feedback loop.
Yeah, and he's ignorant of the true source, the pleroma, precisely because he is the distortion. He's trapped in it. Hence his famous line, right? I am God, and there is no other God beside me.
Systemic ignorance, it's called here.
That's the term used.
Yeah, it's archons, the rulers.
They fit right in. They function as dissonant interference fields. They're like the regulators enforcing that distorted loop.
Keeping things stuck in the distortion.
Exactly. Locking consciousness into that, waveform distortion. They even mimic the true signal, creating false light. One text says they took the likeness and defiled it.
So they copy the pattern, but it's hollow. It lacks the connection to the source.
Precisely. It traps things in that lower harmonic, that distorted grid.
Okay, wow. So original harmony, distortion event, a resulting system based on dissonance. Is there a way out, a way to fix the signal?
That's the role of the logos, or Christos, in these texts.
Not just a person, then.
In this interpretation, it's more like a restoring tone, a pure signal injected back into the system from the original source field.
Like sending in the right frequency to cancel the noise?
You got it. Reintroducing phase coherence, correcting the distortion, realigning the system back towards the original harmony. The logos came into their midst, one text says, to illuminate them, to correct their error. It's the harmonic key.
The harmonic key. Okay, so if the logos is this corrective frequency, what does that make gnosis? Knowing. What does that mean for us?
Right. Gnosis here isn't just intellectual knowledge. It's not belief. It's seen as a tuning process.
Tuning. Like tuning a radio.
Kind of, yeah. It's about aligning your own inner waveform, your consciousness, to resonate with that logos signal, with the true source frequency.
So it's resonant recognition.
Exactly. A scalar reintegration. Tuning yourself to escape that illusion of separation, that false grid created by the demiurge's distortion.
So when they say the light is within them and the light saves them...
It's interpreted as accessing that inner scalar frequency, finding the source signal within. It's about becoming resonant yourself, tuning your own instrument, so to speak.
Wow. Okay, so pulling this all together, this deep dive suggests reality itself might be fundamentally harmonic, a field of frequencies.
Where evil isn't malice, perhaps, but distortion, ignorance born from dissonance.
Right. And our journey isn't necessarily about following rules, but about tuning our own frequency, resonating with that original coherent signal.
That's the implication of this particular lens, yes.
So thinking about that, What if self-awareness, what if knowing thyself isn't just about psychology, but about literally retuning your being, adjusting your own signal to cut through the static and reconnect?
That's definitely something to chew on. What does it mean to tune your own frequency?